So today we are going to be going through and building out our posts, pages, and categories. So once you're logged into your dashboard, we're going to be working with the posts, the pages, explain the difference between the two, because there is, I wouldn't say a major difference, but there is a difference between them, and then explain how the categories work. Once we have some pages and posts and things in here, we're going to build out a menu. So the navigation, we're going to be working on the navigation. It doesn't matter what the site looks like right now, the navigation never changes. You can go get a different theme, install all kinds of different themes. The structure though, the framework of the site is what we're still working on. The facade we can change whenever we want. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, you may have a little number up here. So you got some numbers that are popping up next to updates and plugins maybe. WordFence has a couple too. And a new version of WordPress came out yesterday. So if you click on the little updates or you click on the little circle with the number, we have 5. At least I have 5. You may have a slightly different number. For the most part, you can always just go in and start updating right away. So when I clicked on it, it pulled my updates. If you have this Ninja form thing that's popping up too, I'm going to dismiss it. We don't really need it up there just so it's out of the way, so it's not annoying. And if you have this too, the automatic backup, I'm going to dismiss it. But if you don't have it, don't worry. That means it didn't pop up. So we have the latest version of WordPress. Future security updates will be applied automatically. If yours says you don't and you need to update right now, go ahead and do it. It probably ran the update last night without you knowing it. I got the email yesterday for this site saying that it had been updated. So you may get emails that will say your WordPress site has been updated to version The only thing, and don't hold me to this, I'd have to double check it real quick, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do major updates from like 4.8 to 4.9. You do have to push those automatically, or manually, but I may be wrong on that. It's been a while since I set all that up. But for the most part, these automatically happen. They'll update themselves. If not, come in here and update it. But because there is a major update, look at all the plugins. So it's just like your phone. We have the new for those of you on the iOS 11 came out today. It's hitting. But if you go in, all your apps probably want to be updated too today, because all the developers changed their apps for the new OS. That's what happens on WordPress, is WordPress puts out a new update, and I would say it's about every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll see an update. And it's mostly security. Most of the updates are usually bugs or security updates. Then all of these come in. So you can see right here, compatibility with WordPress 4.8.2 is unknown. That's fine. But you'll notice some of them are 100% according to its author. So the easy way to do this, you can do them one by one, or if you click up here next to select all and hit update plugins, don't touch anything else, let it run. It'll take less than 20 seconds here, maybe a minute at the most, and it is updating on the server now. So that's how we run updates. You'll see the little number, it'll warn you, and I will tell you, update all the time. I've had some clients who haven't updated since version 3. We're talking hundreds of updates, and to the point where it takes forever to run all the updates, and it's a security issue. Remember, we're working with software that's open source, so that means everyone has access to all the code. And if someone's trying to write malicious code, or anything that's, I'll just call it a virus just to make it simple. But basically anything that's a virus, they have total control over it all. So there's always updates going on. We've had a few major breaches with WordPress, nothing to the point where it brought the whole world to a standstill, but it was annoying, or it shut websites down. And that's why the group that handles this is always updating, is people find the holes, and we got to patch the holes. So I'm all updated now. You'll notice I don't have that little circle anymore up here, and there's nothing next to my, there's no updates over here anymore. So updates only show up when, where they're needed. I almost guarantee every time you log in, you're going to have an update for something. Some plugin, something gets updated, a theme gets updated. So there's always updates running. Now, you have another little number 2 up here, or right next to the SEO. And there's also one under WordFence. These are just warnings. So if I click on the SEO, this is just warnings from them saying, hey, there's an issue. And look at what my problem is. You may or may not have this. You shouldn't. I don't think I had you guys block it back in the other video. But I blocked the robots, the SEOs, from indexing my site. So what's happening here is this plugin is all about search engine optimization. It's giving me a warning telling me that there's a huge SEO issue. We're blocking access to robots. I did this on purpose because I don't want my site indexed. Yours, though, if you have this problem, you can fix it by going here, but you shouldn't have this. I think I told everyone not to do that. And then also it's telling us to connect to the Google Search Console. And we haven't done that yet. So it's not a bad thing. It's just notifying us that, hey, you need to go in and do it at some point. So that's what these plugins that we installed last time do, is they're watching, they're doing specific things, they're scanning the site, they're making our life easier, especially if you don't really have no idea what's going on. These plugins are doing it for us and making sure things are happening. This can be an entire class in itself. It could be a 16-week class on SEO if we really wanted to. And I know the surface. I can scratch the surface and make sure things are set up right. This is like a whole other art in itself. But for the most part, this plugin does a really good job. And so it's just warning us, if you want to get rid of these, you can click on the X. And it's not letting me do the notification. Oh well. And if I click on SEO again, I should only have, well, it's saying 2. It keeps coming back. Oh well, I'll have to put up one. WordFence had one as well, down at the bottom. I'm going to click on WordFence just to show you what came up. And I think we're okay. No notifications, no security issues. So if you have a security issue, they'll show you on WordFence as well. So I'm glad those updates came in, because it's always nice to get that as early in the semester as we possibly can and talk about it. So we got updates. Sometimes it is a theme. So a new theme comes out with a new update. Run the update. You're good to go on that. All right, so I am going to open up another tab with my website, just so I can jump back and forth. So this is my site right now. It's not much going on. I don't have a menu. There's no navigation. There's one post and one page. That's it. So out of the box, everyone gets a post and a page. A post is this hello world that we see here. So posts are timely. They have date, they're dated. They're in chronological order going from newest to oldest. That's how WordPress sees it. So if I'm writing articles every day, my newest ones are at the top, the older ones get pushed to the bottom. We can organize posts with categories. So we can create a category, and if you click on that category, it will show all of the posts within it. A post can be in multiple categories. So you can have 5 categories and a post can be in 3 of them or in all 5 of them. It's a way to organize this information. Pages, on the other hand, are static. They don't have categories. So if you create a page, let's say a contact us page, and has a form on it, that's just a static page. It's what we call cornerstone as well. Those are our cornerstone pages. They make up the framework and the base of it. So we need to create some. Before I create a menu, so I want to have a menu so people can navigate my site, you have to have something to put in the menu. We can't just magically put in stuff and then build it later. You have to have framework first to build around. Now that doesn't mean we can't add things to the menu. let's say a month or a year from now, that's fine. But at least for bare minimum, we've got to have some pages and posts created. So I'm going to start with pages because they're the easier of the two to talk about. So we have all pages over here. So there's pages, all pages, and add new. If you just click on pages, it's going to show you a list of all the pages that have been created. So right now, everyone should have a sample page. You'll notice there's cornerstone articles. This is not something that comes installed with WordPress. This comes from the SEO plugin. And what that means is it's an article that's always part of the site. It's not going to get moved. It's not going to get changed. They're pages. So like about us. And I have all the information, or you have all the information about you. You have a photo of yourself and what you've done. That's a cornerstone. The contact pages. Maybe you have one or two other posts that are also cornerstone as well. Things that they're always a part of the site no matter what. There's published and all. So we have published. Those are the ones that are up. You can have content in here that is not published. You can unpublish something. Don't delete it. You can just leave it in here with the content. The users don't see it. So let's say you're working on a page for months. You can just leave it in here and keep working on it. As long as you never publish it, then the internet never sees it. It's behind closed doors. So there's sample page. If you float over it, you'll notice we get some items here. We get edit, quick edit, trash, view, and duplicate page. So edit, that will take you to the page to edit it. It's the same as clicking on the name. Quick edit, if you click on it, these are the basics for all pages and posts. We'll go through these in a little bit more detail when we have, well, we'll go through all of this in the page, but this is where we can come and do very quick things. We'll go over all of it in a few minutes here. And I'll hit update just to get it out of here for now. There's trash. If you want to throw it away, it'll put it in the trash. Now, there is a trash can, so things just don't delete permanently. They go to trash, and if you want to recover them, you can recover the trash. It used to be WordPress a long time ago. It just deleted it. There was no trash can. I think there was a lot of complaints. View, this will show you the page live on the internet, what it looks like. So if I open link in new tab, it takes me to the sample page. And then the last one is duplicate page. Duplicate page is awesome. This is that plugin we installed last time. It duplicates the page and or post. If you click on it, there you go, sample page copy. So it took our page and made a duplicate of it. And this is real important if you spend a lot of time building a page and you just want to reuse it again. Duplicate it, go in and edit. You don't have to do anything else to make a copy. I wish WordPress shipped with this. This is like one of those features, like I don't understand why it's not there. But someone got angry and then went in and built it themselves. So if I want to throw this one away, I can click on trash and it'll put it in the trash can. I also suggest emptying the trash can, as much as you can. The reason is the database uses the title of the page or post in the database to connect it. If I go and create another sample page copy, it's going to have to amend it with a number 2 because it already exists. Even though it's in the trash, it still exists in the system. So if you're deleting stuff, the best thing to do, now we see we have a little trash here. Click on trash, and we can empty the trash or delete permanently. You can also restore. So if you don't want it in the trash anymore, you can restore it. I'm going to empty the trash. This will wipe out everything in the trash can. So now if I create a sample page copy, it won't put 2 on it. So we'll go to all. There are some bulk actions. We can move to trash. So if we have a whole pile of stuff, throw in the trash, select them, bulk it, throw it in the trash. We can also edit multiples. We can look at all the dates. So I only have June. You can look at all the SEO scores. So So you can go through this as well, find which ones you like. You know, that's from this plugin. So you can look and see what needs improvement. Okay, good, no keyword. This is important if you have an old site, lots of stuff, and you need to sort by what you need to make changes to. And then there's readability scores. What that means is how readable is the text. And we're going to talk about that in the plugin. It actually looks at your posts and pages and analyzes it for readability and how long it takes for someone to read it. And that is important for the search engine optimization, is how long do people stay on your site. So that's these little guys right over here as well, the little SEO score and readability score. We can sort by these. All of this was added because of the SEO plugin. Now I'm going to delete the sample page too. I don't want the sample page in here. It's nice that we got one. Throw it in the trash, and I'll empty the trash. You got to click on trash, empty it. So let's create a new page. There's 3 places you can create a new page. You can do pages, add new, go to the pages, click add new, or go to the plus sign up here at the top and go to page. And I use the plus sign the most when I'm creating things. It's just quick and easy. So I'm going to do page. We're going to have to put up with these 2 little bars, but it's all right. So we have a title. The title is what shows up at the top up here in the browser. So I have Hello World, Flowers of Kauai. So it will always amend our title with dash Flowers of Kauai. So this is the title. When we're thinking about titles, keep it simple, to the point, and get your keywords in there. If it's an article, put the article title in there. So if we're like writing an article about whatever, we're, you know, like this was my project. So you can always put project for client number 1. That would be the name of it. Sometimes they're very short. So the first one we're going to create is an about page. If it's more than one person, sometimes I put about us. And I've had some other designers kind of go back and forth on this, and I'm not a fan of putting up resumes. You know, just there's other places to do that. And to be quite frank, just use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the better resume for online. Instead of just putting up a full one. I mean, you still have to have your resume, you know, if you're going to be sending it to someone or filling something out. But we're getting to a point now where no one wants the resume electronically. They want you to fill out their forms. They want you, or they'll use LinkedIn to pull it all, or they'll use Monster or Indeed or whatever it may be. They're not even asking for a formatted resume anymore. But an about page is about you. A photo, you know, a little synopsis, having a couple paragraphs about yourself. So I'll show you an about page here. I'll use my site. So we have who we are. We didn't do about us. We went with who we are. And there we go. So it's kind of a 2-parter. It's our little paragraph about who we are and what we do, and then our contact information's here as well, and I kind of rolled it all into one page. And a little snippet about us as well. So we're going to stick with about, just from a structure standpoint, but you can always change this. You can always change these later, so that we're not, you know, we're not committing to this permanently. So that's the title. Now I'm going to go through these a little quickly. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the formatting today. We're going to come back and really spend a ton of time here, but I want to go through all of these and explain what they do. So the first one is we have our space that we work in. This is a WYSIWYG editor. So WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. Right there. WYSIWYG. Allows you to develop to see what the end results will look like while the interface or document is being created. And it's an acronym. So what that means is we're not writing code. WordPress is writing the code for us in a visual editor. So if I type my name in here, it's just like Microsoft Office. So if you're familiar with any type of text editor, this is not going to be difficult at all. If you go over to text, there's a visual and text. This is the HTML. This is the code. So you can insert code if you want to. You got to go to text and insert it. But I prefer visual. We can insert media. If you click on add media, I'm not going to, once again, this is kind of a whole other video day to talk about this, but you can upload and then you can manage your media library. I have nothing in there, and you probably do too. We can create playlists, we can create galleries, we can do featured images. There's a lot of things we could do from here. But that's how we insert images. Add form is where we can insert forms. That came from the plugin we installed. This is not an part of WordPress, but we can add forms in, and we'll do that on a contact page. Formatting. I'm not going to go through all the formatting here. Most of it is pretty self-explanatory, but we will go through it when we start creating content. There's a little thing called toolbar toggle at the very end. If you click on it, it opens the second line of editing tools. I want you to click on that just so you have all of your tools here. Some of you may accidentally click on this too. Question?
Yeah, it's not letting me click on the visual piece to add text, but it will let me click on the thing to add in the text bar.
All right, leave it up for right now. There's probably a setting that got turned off in the settings. But as long as you can type something in for right now, we're good.
Not in visual, but yes.
Yeah, that's fine. There is a thing called distraction-free writing mode. If you click on it, it will turn off all the sidebars. And this has been around for a while now. Click on it. You notice there's no save button. It auto-saves all the time to the server. So it's auto-saving when you're working, so you never have to worry about, oops, did I save it? Now, I've had times where it crashes and I lost like maybe the last minute's worth of stuff. But I've never lost an entire post or page. Now, if you lose internet, that's a whole other story because it's not syncing to the server. So you are online and it's live. So it tells you how many word count, all that, just like Microsoft Office. The Yoast SEO is that SEO plugin. This is when we deal with content. We'll talk all about these tabs. It goes through and does an analysis of your content. Your keywords, how much text, your outbound, your inbound links, what the slug, the SEO title is too short. I mean, it really goes through and picks away at what you did. So over on the right, we have our published, or publish. We can save a draft. So if we're not going to publish this right now, you can click Save Draft. You can also preview what it will look like live. We have a status. It's a draft right now. It's not published. There's visibility. Once again, I don't want to dig deep into these, but we can turn on and off the visibility to the public. What that means is we can make it so you can only see it if you have a login. Right now, this would be visible to anyone who had the URL. We can lock it down. There's publish immediately. You can publish in the future. So if you sat down and wrote 10 articles and set it one for the next 10 days, it would automatically post them for you. Readability needs improvement. Yeah, that's not really much to work with. And SEO isn't available because we really haven't done anything. Page attributes. Oh, and let's click publish. So you've published your first page now. And that's what we're going to be doing is we're just creating pages and publishing them. We're not putting any real content. You can move it to the trash from here. Let's say you just go, oop, I made a mistake. You can also duplicate the page from here, just like we did on the other. So all those things are here under publish. Page attributes. It used to be we can order by number. This is a leftover from many, many moons ago, and this is how WordPress in the back end still does things. We don't need to, though. I'm actually going to collapse this. So you can collapse these down. And if I wanted to get rid of it, let's say I go, no, I don't care about page attributes. I don't use them. It's in my way. I don't even want it sitting here. If you go up at the very top under Screen Options, we have Page Attributes, Post Explorator, Append a Ninja Form, Featured Image, Yoast SEO, Custom Fields, Discussion, Comments, Slug, and Author. You'll notice these are turned off. If I come up and click on the Page Attributes and uncheck it, it disappeared. So if you're ever working in WordPress, and let's say you're going through another tutorial or you're in a book and it says, look for this on the pages, look for this window. And you cannot find that window. It is just not there. Go up under Screen Options and it may have been turned off or needs to be turned on. So like we're not dealing with discussions or comments, so they're turned off. We don't play with the slug very often. That is the URL. It's how it's set up. The author, that just shows who authored it. Well, if you're the only person on the website, why do you care about the author? Now, if you had lots of people, this is one that I would suggest turning on. And custom fields we're not turning on, but I do use them. It's a way of working with WordPress to do customized stuff with the plugins and other things. We're not playing with them. You can do layout, 1 column or 2 column. That's yours as well. And you can enable full height editor and distraction free functionality. That was that little button we clicked over here, distraction free. So I just turned off the page attribute. It cleaned up my layout. Post Explorator. This is that plugin we installed as well. This allows us to expire a post or page. So if we want something to be pulled down next Friday, I can turn this on and tell it at what time to get rid of what. Ninja form. So append a ninja form means when we create forms, we can add a form to the bottom of the page. So it's on the page no matter what. So when someone scrolls through, it'll say, oh, sign up for our newsletter. It will be at the bottom of the page every single time if we select it. There is a form, contact me form. That's the one it ships with. We'll use it here in a second, but it would put it at the bottom. And then the featured image. Featured images are important. I set a featured image for every post and or page. So right there, that's the featured image for this post. And you can see the layout uses it for each of these. That's the featured image. That's the featured image here. So I did this one this morning. If you click on it, it takes you to the post. That's the featured image. I suggest setting a featured image for every page that you have. Even if your theme doesn't use a featured image, you're going to need to set it. Now, we're going to come back and really go over that in detail. And we're going to use a plugin, and I'm going to show it to you real quickly. We don't need to install it right now. Because where are you going to get your images from, right? Go steal them from Google and then get a nice cease and desist order from someone? Because that will happen at some point. It always happens. It'll be $850 or $1,250 per instance. And guess what? They're right. You did steal their stuff. So, by the law says. So there's Pixabay, and I think I've shown this to you before. But Pixabay images, what this plugin does is it connects your WordPress site to Pixabay, which is full of free images. So these images can be used on your site. These people have taken these images, uploaded them into their accounts, and they've given Creative Commons licenses that you can use. So just to show you, if I go in and create a new post, this is my site, you don't have this on it just yet. It added a little box here called Pixabay. I click on it, and now you can search the website. So I don't know, I'm looking for horses. There we go. So these are all horses I can use in my site. So if I go, oh yeah, that's the one I want. You click on it. This plugin automatically downloads it from Pixabay, puts it in your media folder, and it's now set up and ready to go for you to use on your website. And it puts the link in the captioning in the back end back to the original. And there's a nice little button here called Use as a Featured Image. So this is what I do. I'm going to delete this because I don't need the horse in there. To set my featured images, it's a quick and easy way, especially if you don't have access to the images, you just need them. The other reason we do, let me show you the other reason we do featured images, is when we create a post or a page, and someone comes in and goes, oh, that's great. They copy the URL or they click on Add to Facebook or LinkedIn. Watch what happens on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter. It becomes the thumbnail. So you always want to have a featured image, because if you don't have an image, people don't click on things. So we want to make sure they're set up correctly. So that featured image is real important. And we'll get into really setting that up, but I wanted to explain what it was. So that's the anatomy of a page. So we created our first page. We called it About. This is it's going to be all about me. I threw my name in there just as a placeholder for the moment. I need to update it because I did make some changes, I think. And now I want to create another page. So I'm going to do Add New. You can also do the plus sign, or Pages, Add New. And we're going to do Contact, or Contact Me. I'm just going to do Contact. So this is my contact page. If you don't want to put up your email or phone number, I mean, I personally don't care. All my information's out there anyway. So if someone needs to find me, they find me. But so we have Contact, and I want to add a quick form here. So the plugin came with a form. It's built in. It's called the Contact one. So if I place my cursor anywhere inside here and click on Add Form, there should be one called Contact Me. This is the base one that ships with the plugin. So do that one more time. I place my cursor where I want the form. This one's easy. It's blank. And then I click on Add Form. If you don't have the Add Form, you didn't install the Ninja Forms plugin and turn it on. That was the other thing too, is turning them on. So I'm going to insert it. And what we get, instead of a form like you would normally see, with all the fields, we get what's called a shortcode. So in WordPress, we have things that are called shortcode. They're in brackets. And what's great about this is the plugin has all the code in the database. This shortcode will go grab the code and insert it into the page. So I'm going to click Publish. I don't need to do anything else. I'm just creating the page, called it Contact, threw in a little form. And if I do View Page, I have a contact form. It automatically generated it for me. Now we'll go over how to edit that form later on. But for right now, it just gave me some content. That's all I'm caring about, is there's something there. Even if it's blank, if you don't have anything, it's not the end of the world right now. The main thing is you got to have the page created. You got to have a contact page created. Question?
Yeah, I clicked on something else and now I can't find the page.
Oh, to go back?
Yeah.
Like from here? Hit the back button. If not, you can always go back and click on the view page again. One of the problems is we don't have a menu installed, so you can't just go and click and pull the menu. So we created two pages, an About and a Contact. What I want you to do is go to All Pages or click on the Pages tab.
Oh, there we go.
And you should have two pages, About and Contact. So that gives us the bare minimum pages we need for our website. Because if you think about it, both of these are important. Contact, or having something that's like the contact page, is real important to have in here. And then an about. Sometimes they're together. Some sites have both the about and contact on the same page like I do. But we're going to do these two. So this is just one part of the overall structure of the website. Now, I'm sorry?
Is it supposed to show up on your website? I don't see it.
No, they won't, because we haven't built a menu yet. So they're buried. There's no way to get to them unless, and actually that's a good question. Like right now, if I go to my website, I don't know where my contact or my about is because we haven't created the menu system to actually point to those pages. They are live though. You just have to know the URL. If you do flowersofkauai.com/contact, that will take me to the contact page. But no one's ever going to do that. So we have to set up a menu system to get people to where they need to be. But here's the thing, it's putting the cart before the horse. We can't have the menu until we have the pages or posts. So, question?
So on my theme, it's showing like my about and
Oh.
contact. Is that because
That's because your theme already has the menu set up in it.
Okay.
So what WordPress will do, so if you have a theme that already has a menu by default, every time you create a page, they will automatically show up in the menu.
Yeah.
But we're going to create a new menu that you control. So if you don't want something to come up, it won't until you add it.
Because the menus that are on the themes are preset.
They're preset and just automatic. They kick it. And most themes do that just because most people don't ever even create a menu. They just take whatever gets thrown at them and they're happy with it. Question in the back.
I have issues with adding a form. I do have the ninja clones already.
Is it not coming up or they're not? Yeah, don't worry about it right now. We're going to come back. I was just doing it to throw something in the contact page. If you don't have the plugin or if you're having trouble, just throw like contact me in there or something like that. Just have a little bit of text or have something on that page. So when we start navigating, you can actually see where we're going. Yeah, the forms are going to be kind of a half a day all in themselves, creating them and setting them up. And that's the one thing I will say about WordPress. You may have already realized it. On the surface, it looks simple. You know, it's like, oh yeah, drag, drop. We got pages. We're great. It's when you open up under the hood and really start digging. It's time consuming. It's not so much it's hard. It's just you got to sit down and really go through everything to make sure it's working right. I wish it was just drag and drop and we'd be done with it, but life's not that easy. So, all right. Let's talk about posts. So if I float over posts, we have all posts, add new, categories, and tags. We're not going to be using tags. And let me pull up an article. Should you use tags in WordPress? So there's a lot of people writing stuff like, should you use them? Really what it comes down to, it's up to you if you want to use them, but I prefer not to at this point. Categories versus tags, you know, this is really your best practices for SEO. We're going to ignore the tags. There is a time when we come back and play with them, but as a structural, we're not going to mess with tags. Tags act just like categories. You can sort your content by tags. Think of them as like keywords. So if you wrote an article about education, you might have a tag about education and a tag about K through 12. But you're only going to have one category or maybe a few that are sortable. So with that said, let's go in and I'm going to click on posts or the all posts. So we have one post in here called Hello World. That's the one we've been seeing on the homepage. So on the homepage, newest one, only one. We can edit quick edit, trash, duplicate. We can bulk. So it's just like pages. The layout, everything here. There's really absolutely no difference here, except there is a comments, which we didn't have on the post, or page, I mean. So there's one comment on this post. It's at the bottom here. Oops. Click on it. Hello world. So one person posted on it. I'm going to delete this one. So I can trash it. Same thing, we want to empty the trash after we do it. I'll go to trash, and we'll empty. So we have no posts. If I come back here and click on Flowers of Kauai, nothing found. So this is what happens when you have no posts. You get a nothing found page, which is fine. Now, before I get into posts, well, now we'll do the post. So I'm going to do add new. Looks similar, right? Looks just like pages. So what do we create under posts? If this was your portfolio site, this might be a logo for a restaurant, or it might be a brochure for whatever. If it's an article you wrote, or an article to another site that you're posting, then the title would be the article name. For most of you, if you're building a portfolio site, it's going to be the name of the project that you're working on. So if it was, like in my case, I had the Emmy brochure 2015. That would be the title of this. Then I would put everything down at the bottom, photos, text, whatever it may be. So think about the title. Now, with that said, we have to think about how you're going to categorize the work that you have. So I'm doing the Flowers of Kauai, so I keep it pretty simple. I'm going to have categories for trees, flowers, and plants. That's how I broke it down. You have to think about, so if you're doing your portfolio, it may be Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. And then each of your projects go under there. Now under Photoshop, you may have photo manipulation or photo imaging, or you might have logos, or you might have layout work or books or whatever it may be. So my old site's still up, so I can actually show it. So on my site, under my portfolio, those are my categories. I have a graphic design category, a WordPress and web design, books and publications, comic books, illustration, and business cards. Then you can have subcategories under those. For your site, if you're building a portfolio site, you're probably just going to have like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, or maybe just graphic design, web design, and fine art. So you need to sit down and think about how you're going to categorize your portfolio or whatever site you're building. You need to sit down and figure that out. So for my Flowers of Kauai, we're going to do, I don't know, I'll call it white flower. I don't know the names of all this stuff. So let's say I took a picture of some white flower, and that's what I'm going to post. So that's the title. That's the project. That's the individual. And then I would put in here, you know, that's my description. White flower and green stem. And then I have a photo, I have text, whatever it may be. But for right now, I don't have much to put up. Look at the permalink. This is the link that will be created that goes to this page. Nice and clean. flowersofkauai.com/whiteflower. It takes my title. You can change it. If you click edit, you can change it. I'm not going to. But if you want to shorten it up, you know, you could just put WF. Or just put flower, or if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it. I let WordPress handle this. It does a really nice job. The only time if it was really long, I may cut it down. But I leave them long because then all my keywords are in there too. Most people don't type in URLs. They only do the baseline homepage. And then beyond that, it's just clicking. So I have a little bit of content here. SEO is the same. We're not going to go over that. This is all the same for publish. Format, though, is different. So our theme has different formats. If this was just a video, then I can set it to video and it would treat this page or this post differently. Same thing for gallery or chat or audio. We're going to leave it standard for right now. And we'll go through these. Once we have more content and we have just a video to put up, we can put it in there. But let's say I wanted to put a video in here right now. I do want to show you, and I may have done this already, but if I go to YouTube, I don't know, I'll pick whatever comes up first here. I'm just picking a video. If I copy the URL and I go back and I'm going to paste it, it will automatically insert the video from YouTube or Vimeo. So all I did was I threw a return in and I pasted the URL, and WordPress knows automatically what I wanted to do. This also works for Twitter. So you can insert the Twitter cards. All you have to do is have the URL to the Twitter card, paste it in, and it goes. Here's another thing it'll do. So if I go to WordPress.com, I just need to find someone. Actually, here's my WordPress. Oh, I don't have it anymore. Oh, interesting. There we go. Oh, never mind. I don't have one anymore. So this site is hosted at WordPress.com. If I come in here and copy the URL and I paste it, oh, I didn't do the insert. But if you notice, it converted the link. Sometimes it'll actually do a nice little box and put the preview, kind of like Facebook. It'll actually insert it that way as well. So there's a lot of built-in stuff with WordPress. The videos are the best, though. So when I post stuff, all I have to do is grab the URL, paste it in, I'm done. And it works. Oops, I'll leave it in there just as something to hold down the fort. Also, audio does the same thing from a couple of the sites. There's a whole laundry list of sites that are preset that will automatically embed, and like Audacity stuff does it. There's a lot. Like I said, there's a ton of them out there. If you paste it in, all of a sudden you get an image. That means it's been set up correctly. All right. But if I was going to do a video for this, I can set the format to video. It will change the format a little bit and work on it a little differently. Question?
Do you want us to be adding?
No. I mean, if you want to, go ahead.
You're just showing us, okay.
I just needed a placeholder
Okay.
just to have something in here.
Okay.
You can also drag and drop images. So if you had an image on your desktop, you can drag it directly in here and it will upload it and insert it. So if I go, one time I need an image. Here, I'll just grab something from my site. Come on.
You said we were doing a Yoast stuff a different day, right?
I'm sorry?
You said we're doing like all the Yoast stuff.
Yeah, that will be an entire day just by itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I want to drag and drop this image in, you can drop and you'll upload. So it's quick, easy. Then I insert into post. So you can drag and drop images directly into. we'll go over the differences there, but it's quick and easy. It's intuitive. That's probably the best way to put it. Is most people go, oh, can I just put this here? Yeah, you can. You can just drag and drop it in. Categories. So real quick before I do categories, post expirator is the same, append ninja form is the same, set featured image is the same as pages. The two others that are different though are categories and tags. So right now we have a category. It's called uncategorized. WordPress has to ship with one category, otherwise the system doesn't work. So you get this uncategorized automatically put in here. Well, that doesn't help me. I need to create a category to put this flower in. So what I'm going to do is create a new category. You can add new category, and I'm going to call it flowers. And I'm going to add it. So I can add, as I'm building new posts, I can add new categories from this page, or from this layout. Well, I'm going to add a couple more as long as I'm here. I'm going to do trees, and I'm going to do, I don't know, plants. I'm not being real original today. So if you look, I now have checkboxes next to all of them, and I can have a primary and secondary categories for this post. I don't want all these checkboxes. I only want it under flowers. But let's say this was flowers and plants. I want it to show up in both. I can click both, and then you always have to pick a primary. If you notice, flowers is the primary because it was checked first. If you want to switch and make plants primary, you can click and make it the primary. This is for SEO, and it's also for Google on how to categorize and where to put things. We're going to go in and fix uncategorized. We can't do it right now. We can't edit these. So once you create one here, you're kind of stuck with the name until later we can go over here and change it in the categories. So think of this as a quick area to put it in. But for trees, let's say we have palm trees. That's a whole other category in itself. We got like 50 different types of palm trees. Well, they're under trees. That's the main category. Well, then we have a subcategory, or what we call a child. So we have parents and children. So I want to create, even though this is a flower, I know I'm going to have palm trees. So I'm just going to create it right now. So if I type in palm trees, and under parent category, I select trees, this is going to add a new category that's underneath trees. Now you'll notice it didn't structure it that way. That's fine. But we did create it. If you mess up, we can always fix it. So that none of this is permanent either. This is just a quick way to create new categories. So if you have a brand new plant and it's a whole new category, you can put it in. Question?
It's saying I can't create one.
It's not letting you?
It says unidentified error.
Oh, that one's new. All right. You know what we'll do is we'll try create them in the categories page. Maybe it just doesn't like the post that you're on. All right. So hopefully at this point you have at least three categories, maybe two. You really have to have a minimum of one, but it's nice if you threw a couple others in there. But for me, my flowers of Kauai, I'm going to have plants, trees, and flowers. And then everything will fall underneath those. Maybe I'll add in, I don't know, rocks at some point. You know, we go take pictures of rocks. Well, I want to have a whole new category for rocks. We'll put rocks in there. Or all of a sudden we took pictures of fish. And so we want to put the fish category. And so that allows the customization here. And remember, you can put things in multiple categories.
So it did let me.
Over there. Yeah. Who knows? Now, we haven't published this yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Tags. So if I wanted to use these, I would create tags. It's another way to sort the information. I haven't used tags in years. But if you go and read up on it, There are some people say, oh, for SEO, it's great. It's kind of like up to you. I'm not going to use them in here. I'm going to leave the tags, though, where it is. But think of them as keywords that you can sort by. You can actually create menu items from tags. So they're a lot like categories. But you might have 10 tags for a page, or a post, I mean, versus 1 or 2 categories. So I'm going to publish this. And I'm going to go to my site, hit refresh, and we should have, there we go. There's my video, my white flower with green stem. Oops, I didn't delete that. So this is all nice and good, but I can't get to anything in this layout because there's been no menus installed. So we need to create the menu now. Before we jump into menus, though, I'm going to go under Posts. I'm going to go to Categories. I want to show you how to edit categories in its own layout, not just on the post. So we can add a new category here. Actually, I'll do that. I'll put fish. So I went and took some pictures of fish. I want to put fish up now. Leave the slug blank. So I went Posts, Categories. I'm going to name it Fish. Slug we leave alone. I'm not going to put this in a parent because it's its own. But look what happened with palm trees. See how it indented? Because it's a child of the parent. So right here it says categories, unlike tags, can have a hierarchy. You might have a jazz category and under that have children categories for bebop and big band. Totally optional. I prefer to use this structure though. It is helpful. Description. Descriptions aren't shown by default, but if you want to add a description for the category, you can. You can say these posts are all about fish. I'm going to add the new category. And look what came up. Fish. If you want to put, let's say palm trees was not a child. Whatever reason it didn't pick up. Like I forgot to do it. I want it to be a child. You can do quick edit. Or I'm sorry, actually we got to do a full edit. Quick edit just changes the name or slug. And remember, the slug is what shows up here in the URL. It converts it into something that's usable. But if you click edit, or you click on the name, you can change the parent category here. They don't have to be parent and children. It's up to you. So as long as you got one category in here, that's all we need right now. As long as you got one. Now I've got a little bit more, which is fine. Now we need to create a menu. We have what we need to create a menu now. So we're going to go under Appearance and go to Menus. This is probably still the hardest thing for people to wrap their head around is the menu system. Creating the content's pretty straightforward. Create pages, create posts, create categories. Posts go under the categories, pages are on their own. Once you have those, we need to organize them in a way that people can navigate. So if I go to Appearance and Menus, I don't have any menu. Now, if you picked a theme that has built-in menus, you may have a menu here. But if you notice, I don't have anything created. And yours is probably just like mine. So what we need to do is create a menu. So let's give it a name. I'm going to call it Main, because that's my main menu. You can have more than one menu on a website. You can have one on your sidebar. You can have one at the top. They can be different, and they can have different things in them. So there's a lot of flexibility, but for our theme that I'm using and the ones you're probably using, you probably have one menu area, either on the left or at the top.
Is there a way for us to see that? Like to see where, like how many menus each added, or is it listed under the
Usually when you're on the page, like if you're looking through them, they'll tell you how many menu areas that are available. we can put menus in any widget as well. So any widget area, you can insert a menu into that as well. This one I think only has one for this, or one or two. So click main, or I'm sorry, name it main, not click on it. We're going to create the menu. So it says menu structure. So I clicked on create. Here we go. There's two areas for this one. There's one called primary menu and social link menu. So there's social links and there's a menu, primary. I know for this one we're going to be using primary. For your theme it may have different ones depending on what comes up. Auto add pages. So some of you may already had another theme installed and when you added the pages they automatically were created. If you want that to continue, you can checkbox this. I leave it off. I don't want stuff automatically appearing on my site. So primary menu is what I'm choosing. The name is main, and I'm going to click on save. I did have to create the menu before I did this. So I'm going to save it just so we have it. So real quickly again, I went under appearance. I went to menus. If you had nothing in here, I named it, and I clicked on create menu. Then I set it to be the primary menu or main or whatever your theme says. We can always change it if it doesn't show up in the right place. But the primary is what we're doing. Now we have nothing in the menu. Add menu items from the column on the left. So we have pages, posts, custom links, and categories. Up at the top under screen options, before we do anything else, I want you to click on it and I want you to set link target.
What if you don't have that?
The screen option?
Oh,
Yeah, say.
Yeah, scroll up. It's there. And turn on link target. This one's important. It allows us to do blank. And what that means is open a new window. So if you have a menu and in that menu you have a link to another website, you don't want it to overwrite your website, we'll be able to set it to open in a new window. If you don't turn this on, it doesn't show up in the menu items. So it's just one of those little advanced menu property things. Once it's on, you don't have to worry about it. So under pages, you have most recent. Then you have view all, and you can search. So if you have hundreds of pages, you may have to search for them. I'm going to click on view all. We have 3 pages in the site, but we only created 2. Home. Home is an automatic page. That's just your URL, not /home or anything else. It's just, well, actually it is. I shouldn't say that. If you do /home, it would take you here to the main home page. But it's this page right here. What we're looking at, this is the home page. And I'm still a big believer in have a home button somewhere. We just have to assume everyone's stupid. That's just the bottom line. Just assume people don't know what they're doing. A lot of websites use their logo as a home button, which I think we're all been kind of trained that way. But I still give it as an option. Now, if I'm really tight on space in a menu and I really have to cut something out, then yeah, the home is the first I can cut. But I still like to have it in there. I like to bookend everything, home and contact. Everything falls between those two. Contact at the end, home at the front. All my other stuff is in between. So we need to add these pages. So I clicked on View All. I'm going to do Home, About, and Contact. And I'm going to do Add to Menu. So that adds the 3 new menu items. You notice there's a pull-down menu or a little arrow. Home is actually a custom link. This is not an existing page. It goes to My Flowers of Kauai. It's labeled home. So if you want to change the label, you can do that, and you can remove it. Question?
Yeah, I got it twice.
So if you got two of them, open up one of them and hit remove. So let's say I didn't want home in here. I can open it up, click remove. It's now out of my menu structure. I can add it back in, add the menu, and home always goes to the top because they know that's usually your very first one. Remember that open link and new tab I was talking about a minute ago where we opened up the screen options and turned on link target? That turned on this little box right here. So if you want it, when someone clicks on home, you want to open a new window, you click on that little box. I don't want to do that. Next one is about. It points to the about page. Contact is under the, goes to the contact page. If I click save menu, and I go to my Flowers of Kauai and I hit refresh, look over here on the left. Home, about, contact. So for this theme, it places my menu in the left-hand side right underneath the logo and text. So for this theme, that's where the menu goes. If you have a different theme, it may put it at the top. It all depends on where that theme is set, the menu. So we have home, about, and contact. Now if I click about, it'll take me to the about page. I click on contact, it takes me to the contact page. Now I can work with this menu at any time from this layout. Now there is a thing called live preview. We are not working with that right now. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. I don't want you to click on it. This allows us to work on the site live.
That's how WordPress.com is.
Yes.
Doesn't say because I've never seen.
WordPress.com works this way. The reason I didn't want to show this to you first, I want to show you the long, hard way on this. And then eventually, they're going to start hiding the features we were working on. So I prefer you learn this way first and then on the other. So we have posts, custom links, and categories. So let's look at posts. I can add any post to the menu. I very rarely do this though. It's rare that you're going to add a post. They're under categories. They're structured differently. So for the posts, you may add them in. I'm not going to do that today. Custom links. I'm going to skip this one just for right now and go straight to categories, but we can put in a link to any other website. So go to categories. I'm going to click on view all. So we have fish, flowers, plants, and trees. I've got all these different categories to put in. Uncategorized, I'm ignoring right now. We're not going to use it. So if I click on fish, flowers, plants, trees, and the palm trees, and click on add to menu, you end up with all these new categories. Now I need to rearrange these. You can click on the name, hold, and drag and rearrange. So I'll do home, about, and then I'm going to do flowers next. Then I'll do plants, and I'll do trees. But palm trees needs to be under trees. If you click on palm trees, you can indent underneath. It becomes a sub item. So in the menu, it's a pull down. I've just created a pull down menu under trees. So you can rearrange these however you want. But if I click save, and I go into Flowers of Kauai and I hit refresh, that's what my menu looks like now. So I've got home, about, flowers, plants, trees, but if I click on trees, it'll show me the pull down. Now, as my site grows, I may have too many subcategories. I don't want to have tons and tons of pull downs here. But for right now, that's how we do a pull down. And we have fish and contact. So just go over there again. I went into categories. I clicked and I added to menu. And then as you click on the name, you get the arrow. You can drag into whatever order that you want. And then I hit save. As we go on, we will add in other structures on it. So once again, you can add categories just like pages. Add to menu, and then you can rearrange as needed. You can drag and drop as much as you want. Big thing though, sub items. I can make plants a sub item of a sub item of a sub item. There is a point where that's too much, but you can do that. And some themes won't go below 1. Even though you do 2 sub items, they will not show because the theme isn't set up to keep doing pull out menus and drop down menus. And if you got that many, then you got to stop and go back and rearrange and think about how your content is being presented. So now I have a working site for the most part. I have a menu system. You can get to the pages and posts that we created. But those categories act just like the pages. You can add them just like you would pages and put them in. And then the rearranging is the key, is that you can drag and drop these. Your heart's content. Custom links. I want to have a link to Google. I don't know why, but I do. So if I type in google.com and I type in for the link, that's what the user will see. And I add this to the menu so you can paste in any URL. We get a custom link at the bottom. I want it to open in a new window, so I'll click on the little checkbox. I open it up, went to the checkbox, and now when I save it, and I go look at my site, I'll hit refresh. I now have google.com in my menu. I click on it, it opens a new window, and it goes, but my old window is still open. So you can link to any other website from your menu or any other URL that you have. I don't want it, so I'm going to hit remove and hit save, and it's now gone for good. So we now have a menu. We've got our title, we have a menu, we have a couple things just to make the site work. So it's starting to come together now. On my left-hand side, I have what's called widgets. These are areas where I could put in customized text. I could put in plugins that we downloaded. There's a whole bunch of stuff built in to WordPress that we can work with. The meta down here, the site admin, logout, that is a widget that is included with WordPress. I want to get rid of all of these and start over. I don't want the ones that they gave me. Probably we're going to keep search engine probably in recent posts. That's about it. So what we can do is go to appearance and go to widgets. There is a live preview for the widgets as well. We're not going to do that right now. So over on the right, you're going to have widget area. You might have multiple widget areas depending on your theme. Some themes have 6 or 7 different areas that you can put widgets in. At the top, at the bottom, on the left, on the right. The 2017 theme that we're working with, or 2016 I mean, only has one widget area. And that is, when visually looking at it, it's right below the menu. So we have a search box, recent posts, we have search, recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, and meta. I want to get rid of these. So if you click on them, you can hit delete. Click on the little arrow, hit delete. And I'm going to do that for each of these. It's nice that they give us some. And I'm even going to delete search. I want to have nothing in my widget area. Now when I go and hit refresh, if you notice I didn't have to save anything, it automatically does it. Look at my site. That's all that comes up now. None of that other stuff's there. It's all gone. But we're going to go through all of them right now. We're going to drag them over, take a look at them. I'm going to talk about these. There's not that many. There's about 12. So we have archives. Archives is a monthly archive of your site's posts. So if you drag that over, we're going to drag all of them over and then delete them. It's the easy way to kind of show you what each of them are. Question?
So I don't have a box that says widget area. Mine says default sidebar instead.
Same, that's what it is. It's your widget area. So it tells you where it is. It's default sidebar, so it's the sidebar on the left or the right, depending on your layout. Sometimes they'll have footer. They'll have like a widget for the footer. That is the developer who named these, but it's the same thing. So if you have multiple boxes here, here, I'll show you my widgets. I think I've got like 3 areas. So here we go. Mine has banner and then widget area for my other theme. And you can drag and drop between them as well. So archives, you could display as a drop-down, or you can display as show post count. Right now, it will just show the archive. You can put a title, and I can say something like post archives. I'll hit save, and I want to show you what it looks like over here when you hit refresh. It's right there. So it put the title, and if I click on it, it'll show me all the posts from September 2017. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to delete like 95% of these when I'm done. I'm just pulling them up to show you what they do. So I dragged archives over. So I'll do this one more time. I dragged it over, dropped it in, named it. I'm going to turn on show display and show posts just to show you in a minute. So then there's calendar. If you drag it over, drop it in, you notice there's no settings. You can just put a title on it. That's it. I'll show you what it does. It put a calendar on your sidebar. So you would think, oh, calendar is really useful. No, it's a calendar of your posts. It's not like a calendar that you can put things on in like Google Calendar. It's a calendar that shows you on each day how many posts you made. So it's like the archive down here, just in a calendar form. I know, I never use it.
That's like so useless.
Yeah, there's a few useless ones in here. But we got to talk about the useless ones, just like the good ones. Custom HTML is probably one of the most important ones. If someone gives you a snippet of HTML, like from another website or from anywhere, and you need to embed it in your widget, you put the code in here and then put it in. So if you're on another website and you want to put in the Facebook sidebar, you've probably been on a website, it'll show a little window with the person's Facebook stuff or a Twitter feed. If you have the code from Twitter or Facebook, you can put it in here and it will show up in your widget.
So can you get that from like the post somehow? So I know you can do it from YouTube, like there's a way to get the
Yes, the list, like it'll show you like a playlist. Yeah, if you get the code from there, paste it in here, it will show up in the sidebar. So anytime you have custom HTML, anything that's custom code, you use this widget to put it in. And you can see it's pretty simple. It's just a box to put it in. So there's no settings. Think of it as just like a nice little area to put stuff in. Image. So there's display an image and image widget. We're going to talk about the difference here. But if I drag over image, I can drag in an image or select it. I can add it from my images here. Come on. Remember I dragged in that image earlier? I can add it, and it'll put it in an image. Now, the problem with this one is it's simple. It does an okay job out of the box. That's it. There's no other formatting. I can't center it. I can't put a link on it. That's why we have image widget. That was a plugin that we installed the last time. We'll get to it in a second here, but this is just the basic image that comes with WordPress. Meta, a few of you have asked me about Meta. This is the login, the RSS, the WordPress.org links. This is kind of the admin. Don't put it in there.
some people try to hack.
Yeah, it's easy. They just click on it and then they start trying to log in. So I'll show you what it looks like. You probably had it on your site. It's this stuff right here. Pages. If I drag this over, guess what it does? It gives me a list of the pages I created in either title, order, or ID. Every page has a number assigned to it in the back end, no matter what. So the first one you create is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. You can exclude if you know the IDs. You have to put commas. If we take a look here, I now have a list of just the pages. I prefer the menu. I have control. I don't have a lot of control over this. Next one is recent posts. This will give you a list of the recent posts. You can say how many. There's white flower. I actually use this one. You can put the date, you can put how many. Search, pretty straightforward. Search box. It'll just put a search box in.
Just like that. Is that a search box to your website?
Only your website. So WordPress has a built-in search engine for your site. It uses your database and everything. There are ways to integrate a Google search box and then have it part of your analytics. There's a plugin. You just put in the API code. Sorry?
You should add it or you shouldn't add it?
I dragged it in. It's probably the only one we're going to keep. It had to have a search box with the menu. Then there's text. This is different than HTML. This is just if you want to put some text in the sidebar. You want to write a little paragraph like, you know, please contact me at whatever. It has some basic formatting, bold and italic, and bullet list. It's not much, but it's better than writing HTML. This is fairly new too, with the formatting.
Is there no way to set a font, or is it just follow the theme?
Here, right here. Hey, did you hear we have a custom HTML widget now? They want you to write HTML for that. Yeah.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not. But they're telling you, hey, go over and do a custom HTML version. There are plugins that will give you like really high-end formatting in the widget if you want it. Question?
So yours says widget area,
Mhm.
but I don't have that.
Is it named something else?
It's like canvas sidebar.
Yep, so use sidebar. Yeah, you've got multiple widgets on your theme. So use the sidebar. So this is a real simple theme. As you find other themes, they're going to have other widget areas.
Okay.
So we have categories. It'll give you a list of the categories that we created. You know, I've been throwing these in here. Let's take a look now. I got a big mess. Categories. Please contact me. There's my search box. Custom menu. Question.
Are you not putting in audio?
Oh, I skipped audio? Whoops.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just that.
So, audio. You have to upload an MP3 or another audio format, M4V, whatever it may be. Once you've uploaded it, then you can insert that audio and it will create a little audio play bar automatically. When you insert into your content area, if you upload an MP3 or another audio format, it will create the little, it won't just put a link, it'll actually put the little player in the content area. So if you're uploading a lot of audio, it's actually a really nice tool. So you can put an audio in the left-hand side.
So like here, can you make it so that when people go to your site, it plays the song?
No, they have to hit the play. There are ways to do that, but I'm not a fan of that. And actually, Google is killing it, I think, next month. In Google Chrome,
Excellent.
it will shut it off automatically.
Yay.
Yeah. So, whoops. Custom menu. So, I can add a menu to any sidebar or any widget. I just have to select the menu and it will add it. So this theme automatically put the menu right here. This is just the built-in. But what if I wanted a menu down at the bottom? I can use the widget and select any menu and insert it. So now I'm going to have double menu. Like I said, I'm just making a mess of this. There we go. Double menu. But think of it this way. Maybe you have your main menu and you have a sub-menu of categories. And you create another, you go back into menus, you can create another menu there. Format it and put it in as a custom menu. Question?
I'm pretty sure the custom thing you did makes so you can't use something.
Nope. Yeah, it doesn't do this. It's just, and it could be a CSS issue. It's just written differently. Yeah, but it just does it automatically does it. Which, for this one, I wouldn't put the custom menu in here anyway. Image widget. This is what happens when plugins take over. And I'm just going to select an image real quickly. Look at all the formatting I got now. I can put a title. I can put my alt text. I can put a related, which is HTML5. I can put a caption. So I can put, this is a photo. I can put a link. I can make it go to wherever. We can ID it for CSS. We can tell it to open in a new window. And I can change the size here as well. And then alignment. Left, center, right. So you have a lot of options here, but you have to have the plugin, the image widget plugin installed. So that's what image widget does, is it gives us all this format. I use this thing all the time. Mostly just because it's easy to put a link on and control the link and alignment. But you have a lot of control here. And I'll show you the difference. There we go. Puts a caption, puts the link, puts the title, versus just that out of the box. Ninja forms, you want to put a form in the sidebar. Maybe you have a little thing that's like sign up or send me an email. You just select which one, and it'll put a form in the sidebar. Now keep in mind, you probably want to make that form pretty short. Maybe it's just email, fill it out, and hit submit. Otherwise, you end up with this mess, which is way too much stuff in the sidebar. Look at all that. Because that was just the default. I threw it in there. Recent comments. I don't have any comments, but this would show you a list of the recent comments. So if you want people to go and fight with each other. RSS feed. This one I like. So last week I talked real quickly about the LA Times, I think, or the week before. RSS feed. So let's say I want to put Dodgers. So I can take this feed This is an RSS feed. So I did a Google search and I said, okay, RSS feed, LA Times has it. I copy the URL. I go back to my widget I dragged in, the RSS. I'm going to put the feed here. I'll call it LA Times. How many items do you want to display? Well, 10's too much, so let's do 5. I don't want to show all the content because I just want the titles. If an author, I don't care, and I don't care about the date. But I could put those on, and I'll save it. So what my site ends up doing is when I hit refresh, there we go. There is links from the LA Times. So when they update it, it updates my website. So anywhere you have an RSS feed from another website, you can put it in here. And that's what's nice about WordPress is everyone's got an RSS feed. Most people don't even realize it, but every WordPress site has an RSS feed. Yours does. So someone could take the RSS feed of one of your categories, and that's what this was. The LA Times has categorized this under Dodgers. So I'm pulling an RSS feed from their category because they use WordPress as well, or a version of WordPress. Tag cloud. I'm not even going to pull that one over because I'm not using tags, but it'll make a little cloud with the names of the tags, and some are bigger and some are smaller. For a while there, that was like the hip thing to do, and I never did it. It was like whatever. And then video. If you want to insert some video in the side, you can select the video, put it in. You can put the URL if you want to as well. Insert URL. So this is where you would put your YouTube URL or Vimeo URL. So if I went to YouTube, let's grab, there you go, Virtual Boy. Oops. Too much stuff open. I put in that, I add to the widget, I save it. It'll put the video in there. And it's based on the width. So this isn't like, oh, I can put a giant video in there. It's going to scale it down to the width of the video. There we go. So those are all the basic widgets and a couple that we installed with plugins the last time we went through and set it all up. So now I want to get rid of all this, and I wish there was like a clear all, but there really isn't, so I'm going to have to hit delete, delete. This will take a little while, sorry, delete, delete, delete. Now if you have footer ones, you could put anything in there, and it really is the design of your layout. When you start adding widgets, preview it, see how it looks. If it doesn't look right, don't do it. You know, if you go and drop in something in your footer and it throws everything off, then it's really meant for small widgets.
It's all footers, because mine is my menu thing with a footer widget.
So that would be all the footers through the entire website. So what I would do is drop in like the search box and see what it looks like, because it's pretty neutral in the search box. And not every plugin's going to work, or every widget's going to work in every widget area. And we'll delete that. I'm going to leave search in here. And now when I hit refresh, I have a search box. And I like that. We'll keep it pretty simple. We don't have to go overboard on this. So we now have our structure in place. This sets us up for content. Now I can actually start adding real content to this site. You know, getting headers done, setting color, getting this to look the way I want it to look. Right now, all we have, if we were building a house, we have our framework up. We have a little bit of the electrical and plumbing in, but now it's really about making this look the way we want and moving everything into it. But the base structure's there. It's solid. We know it's going to work. Now it's really about getting all the little details correct all the way through. So the next thing And I had you look at this in the last go around was picking a theme. Some of you picked a different theme, which was great. I'm going to be using 2015. I may have said 16 or 17 in this video, sorry, but I am using 15. I'm going to continue using it, but now is the time to really start making a decision if you want to change the theme. So next week, we're going to get into themes. We're going to make changes to them. We're going to use the visual editor to do most of that. And then we're going to go back and start working on pages and posts and work with images, work with video, work with all that text, all those things, just to get everything fleshed out. So bring stuff next week. We'll talk about how to convert the files as well from Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. I'll have photos if you need them. So I have my Flowers of Kauai stuff. I have pictures and things like that. And we'll go through and start building it out. But at this point, you do have really a functional site or something very close to it. You have menu, we have some stuff in here, but it's pretty much ready to go and get going. This is the part that does, going through all the next stuff does take a while. There's a lot of settings and a lot of little things in there. So we'll leave it at that.